If you look at the data available to us, as Mike rightly underscored, intra-Africa trade, partly between 2015 2018, is hovering around 15-16%. If you compare to Asia and Europe, which are in the region of 50, 80, 70. What that means is that we need, as a continent, to do something about this. And that will create opportunities, again, to those willing institutions which want to be early movers. And I can assure you, the banks we are seeing in the, on the stand there, they will never regret the decision they took to be early movers. I can draw lessons from the mobile money. Those days, without mentioning names, we have only 3 banks that were ready to open their balance sheet for mobile money. And I could also recall in 2007, when Bank of Ghana fully operationalized GIPS, we called a meeting. I was at that meeting, then was my governor, Paul Akwa. We wanted to give GIPS to the banking industry free to manage. There was a heated debate on the 5th floor of the Monetary Policy Committee room, to the extent that it nearly resulted in a blow coming from some of the managing directors who are now on retirement. I always say that we have a unique opportunities, those of us working now here, to leave a legacy so that when we are no more, we can be proud and say that these are the things that we have left behind and that are working for society, and we are also benefiting from it. They oppose ownership of GIPS. And today, as I'm speaking, I have had several letters from the association pleading to own GIPS. What all these things are telling us is that when changes, when they come, we should be ready to accept. Because even the human race, you are born, you crawl, you walk, you stand on yourself, you start working, you will decline, you go back to your original state and leave this world. It's a fact, that a phase that all of us will go through. That is why if you see in a developed world, they believe in leaving a legacy. Rather than in developing countries, we believe in possession. In a developed world like the UK, Canada, they believe that when they leave this world, the purpose that God has created them for, they must leave a legacy. And that legacy are the things that we are benefiting from. This light that we are seeing was done by someone through intensive pain. The mic I'm using was done by someone through intensive pain. So, looking at all the things that I have said, perhaps we will learn by doing. There will be mistakes. We will learn through the road. There will be challenges. We will learn. But I believe the next 10 years, PAPSS is going to be one of the matured institutions that will rival most of the institutions in the international space. If you take the global financial crisis, the recent Russia-Ukraine war, and the COVID-19, the challenges that developing countries and emerging economies have gone through, that will tell you that Africa, we have a unique opportunity to create our own in order to move this continent out of poverty. And I strongly believe that even if those of us sitting in this room, we don't conform to the revolution that took place in the mobile money that I talk about, there will be a next generation that will come and do that. I know that even as we have commenced the PAPSS, there are people, they are naysaying. There are people who are saying that we can never do it. I want to draw an analogy from the Bible, Nehemiah. When Nehemiah said that we shall build the wall, There were 3 guys who said it can never happen. There were 3 guys who said it can never happen. And there were others who were silent and they said within themselves that it can't happen. But the vision Nehemiah had materialized. In every good thing that you are doing, automatically you get opposition. I could recall when I established the payment system department in Bank of Ghana in 2015, in July, and we introduced mobile money. I always tell my staff, I even had a situation where senior members of staff told me that when mobile money collapses, it collapses on my head, not Bank of Ghana. But the good thing is that when the fruit comes, everybody tries to be part of that fruit and say that they created it. And I believe Mike and his team, they are leaving a legacy. What we need from the banks is that, as I have already stated, let's be aware that we are going to face a lot of difficulties on our journey to operationalize PAPSS. The current payment system that we have in Bank of Ghana, or we have in Ghana, or the structures that we have laid in Bank of Ghana, they didn't come out of just partying. They came out of a lot of pains that we went through. In the same way, perhaps we are going to have a lot of challenges. Nobody promises anybody that it's going to be a rosy this thing. There are issues that will come out with in terms of transaction costs, transaction failure, transaction whatever. They are part of the process. They are preparing us to overcome the challenges that we'll face the next 5 years. So I'll call on all the banks that are not on the board. My governor has given a letter of no objection to all the banks. What you need to do is to write to us at the Payment System Department. We'll review your request and let you go ahead. I don't want that time, I'm sure, when PAPSS become operational, I will be on retirement, okay? I don't want to hear some banks saying that, oh, this PAPSS things is benefiting Bank A, B, C, D. Can Bank of Ghana come up with a policy to level the playing field so that some of the banks who can get some of the trade? Just like as we have seen in mobile money. There were some banks that they were not even holding any portfolio of mobile money or float balances. But now these same banks are now pleading with the central bank that, can we also take part of the float? But in 2016, when we were calling on them to come and take the float, they said they were not interested. In the same way, as we have started, I have started already, this room, there's something unique about it. I must admit, there's something very unique in terms of the payment system. So I encourage all banks to take the necessary step and be on the platform. It will give you additional income, diversification. You don't rely on only corporate and retail banking that we know traditionally. The world is changing. It will never wait for us. Thank you.